देवीनी परिपालिसे भक्तरा सतता देवीनी परिपालिसे देवी नित्यानन्दे देवी जगदम्बे देवी नित्यानन्दे देवी जगदम्बे देवी कात्यायिनी प्रेमादि सलवा देवीनि परिपालिसे जटमाकुटासुरा तटनी धरणी मेले जटमाकुटासुरा तटनी धरणी मेले कटिलोळु बेरेउव कपिलेश्वरी सदा देवीनि परिपालिसे भक्तरा सतता देवीनि परिपालिसे भक्तरा सतता देवीनि परिपालिसे
Thank you, Apurva. Now we have the release of the book. Upanishads and J.Krishnamurti is a deeply insightful exploration of the intersections and contrasts between the teachings of J. Krishnamurti and the ancient wisdom of the Upanishads. Drawing on Sri-M's vast understanding of multiple religious philosophies, including Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, and Buddhism, the book offers a rare, nuanced perspective on faith, truth, and the nature of spiritual inquiry. Enriched by the author's personal encounters with Krishnamurti and other thinkers, it invites readers to reflect critically on organized religion and the pursuit of inner freedom. The book has been published by Penguin India. We now come to the next segment of this evening's program. It's an interactive session with Sri-M and Mr. Chandavarkar.
Oh. Oh, yes. Coming?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Now I said this is going to be fun.
Well, sir, thank you for this book. It pushes us towards first principles in a way quite different from your other writings.
Yes.
So let me start with the introduction where you talk about why you have written this book.
Yes.
And you speak of three categories of people: those who hold Krishnamurti as original authority and ignore scripture, those who cling to scripture out of orthodoxy and dismiss
Can you
Krishnamurti,
hear clearly?
and those who say that all religions lead to the same God. Could you expand on these three groups and how the book addresses them?
I'll have to check where you're reading from.
The introduction.
This one?
Yeah, beginning.
Why this book? Huh?
Yes.
How many pages is this? Oh, large. Okay, so without reading, let me explain. You must be aware that I have been closely associated with J. Krishnamurti during the last 3 years of his life. Because I was in Vasant Vihar, the headquarters of the Krishnamurti Foundation. And whenever he came, I kind of looked after him. I was on the organization, I was a joint secretary of the Krishnamurti Foundation. Apart from that, I used to be close to him, taking him up to the room, bringing him down. We have had several intimate conversations together and so on. So it is based on this that the book has come. Now, let me explain this. The most ancient texts that we have today in the search for the truth, in the search for the supreme reality, the most ancient are the Upanishads. 2000 years, let's say. I'm basically talking of the 11 principal Upanishads, the first Upanishads, on which many acharyas have commented and so on. Now, I think these principal Upanishads are the essence of the ancient teachings of this country. Mind you, it originated in this country, but it is universal in its appeal because it is the Upanishad that declares Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Doesn't say that only we should be happy in this country. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu comes from the Upanishad. So the whole world is involved in it. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, not only sukha for us and not for the others. You see that? So the problem is what we categorize as the traditionalist. They generally do not read or look at Krishnamurti because they've got an impression that he's a breaker of images, he's an iconoclast, so they don't read. On the other hand, there is a new religion called the Krishnamurtite religion. They will not read the Upanishads. Right? So since I am in the middle of both, kind of exposed to this and exposed to this, that too at a very individual level, therefore, I wanted to bridge this gap between these two apparently different modes of thinking, but really not. I'm not trying to bring together Upanishad and Krishnamurti, please. That is not the intention. I'm saying go through the Upanishad, go through Krishnamurti and find out for yourself. Right? So this is the reason why basically I wrote this book. I worked hard. Maybe the idea was in my mind for 4 or 5 years. In the last 3 years, I put in some work in spite of my schedule traveling here, there. You know how it is. Still I manage somehow. last sentence from your question. I went to Krishnamurti because Babaji, Maheshwarnath Babaji told me, go to Krishnamurti. He also added, there are some cobwebs which need to be wiped out. This is why I went. Otherwise I wouldn't have gone. I objected. Why would I go? Somebody says the Guru is not required and so on. I said, relax. तुम पहले जाओ, वहाँ रहो, और फिर मुझे बताओ. This is why I came. Yes, sorry.
So you write about the keynote Upanishads saying that ultimate truth is beyond words or thought, or the Mundaka Upanishad saying the sacred texts are the lower order of knowledge and the higher knowledge is that which is ungraspable. In a similar vein, Krishnamurti emphasizes that thought, memory, the profane self are like prisons, which if you get trapped in them, that there is no progress. And he did this without reading the Upanishads. But is this what you see as the real resonance between what Krishnamurti said and what the Upanishads say?
Okay. When you all read the book, you'll get some idea of this, but I'm going to tell you this. Now, in the short while, in few sentences, this is that I do not think Krishnamurti read the Upanishads. I don't think so. The problem is, which we don't look into, before the Upanishads were taught, did the rishis who gave us the Upanishads, did they read the Upanishad? No. They didn't have any material to read. They found it for themselves. And they gave it to us. Right. In the same way, why is it not possible that Krishnamurti found it by himself? Why would it necessary that he should have gone through that to find it? Because I must tell you this, during the talks in Vasant Vihar in Chennai, one day Krishnamurti said that throw away all your scriptures into the sea. Okay? I didn't want to talk about it. Evening I took him from the talk into the room. Second day he said, but the speaker has not read any of them. So I thought, no, you can't let it go. So in the evening when we went back to the room, I said, sir, I want to ask you something. Go ahead, he said. He liked to call everybody sir. He said, go ahead, sir. I said, yesterday you said there is nothing in this text and throw them away. Today you said, I have not read them. Sir, now this is a contradiction because the people who listen to you, they consider your words like gospel truth. And you are contradicting yourself because if you have not read any of them, how do you know there is nothing in them? Throw them away. He said, but I don't need them. I said, that is a different matter. You can say, I don't need it, but it's not the same as what you said. Now here is something very interesting. He could have said, shut up and get out. I was nobody. I was like that. Almost. Artist has not done a good job, but but the humility of the man is that he said, you are right, sir. I should be more careful of my words, of what I am saying. I consider that as a great quality which can come only to a mind that is settled down. People are so quick to be pricked. And that too, I am a nobody at that time. And I am saying it to some world famous guy, he could have said, shut up, you don't know. No, you're right, sir, I think I should be careful. From which, what I'm trying to say is a person whose mind is settled and who has touched whatever. We have no names. In fact, Upanishad says, yad vachana abhyutitam venavag abhyutyate, that which words cannot describe, so you cannot even name it. That supreme reality. If someone has touched that, there is a natural humility that comes. Because then you realize you don't know everything. Somewhere along the line, people think that a yogi who has touched that is omniscient. No. Well, if he applies his mind, he may be able to figure out what others can find difficult to figure out. But at a given point, he is not omniscient. And to admit your mistakes, that you're wrong, is a great step ahead in spiritual practice.
The etymology of the word Upanishad, sit down close, centralizes the relationship with the Guru. And the text describes several conversations between Guru and Shishya. Yama talking to Nachiketa, Angiras talking to Shaunaka, Yajnavalkya talking to Maitri, etc. On the other hand, Krishnamurti warns us against reliance on a Guru, implying this is just as much a trap as thought, mind, and memory. So is this a major point of divergence between Krishnamurti and the Upanishads?
I know that. Now the problem is, when you say Guru, a teacher, Krishnamurti himself has passed through so many teachings and teachers in the Theosophical Society. When he had reached a certain stage of understanding, he decided that these are not required. Okay, I'll give you another example. Ramana Maharshi did not have a guru. Where? Show me where he had a guru. He didn't have a guru. The story is that he found out the truth by asking himself, who I really, and found the truth. Now these are exceptional individuals. These are not common folk. Let me say this. Ramana Maharshi, we don't know of any guru in existence in this life. Who knows what he did before? Point one. Second, because Ramana Maharshi said that, I have no doubt that he was. Today, if I wear a cowpin and sit somewhere and say, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Will I find the truth? No. You need to lead the life. You need to, you know what I'm trying to say. So I personally feel, after having interacted with Krishnamurti, he was not against a teacher as such. He himself was a teacher. But he was against the paraphernalia of Gurudom. You know what I mean? Huh? Gurudom. There are hundreds of people sitting here today. They have not come to listen to Krishnamurti. They just want to see me. This is the problem. Fact. This is the problem. This is what Krishnamurti, not... If you want to go into this, you should read a beautiful text. It comes in this matter of intelligence, I think. It's a conversation between Krishnamurti and the sannyasin who wrote the commentaries on, who translated the Yoga Vashishta. Anybody? Swami Venkateshananda. This is interesting, you will find it there. There's a discussion on Guru and so on in that also. He says that he thinks it is necessary. And Krishnamurti says, you might think so, but it may not be necessary. And he is warning him against making the teacher more important than the teachings. You should read it. I can't disagree. I'm not defending Krishnamurti, mind you. I'm not. I'm only saying that people have a completely wrong. So like Ramana Maharshi, who am I? Now, if you go to a Western country and keeps asking, who am I, they would take you to a mental home. So this guy doesn't know who he is. You see what I mean? So, there are special cases like Ramana Maharshi, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he worshipped Kali, all that is fine. But his first spiritual experience happened when he saw a flight of white geese flying across black clouds. He simply shouted, Mago, and fell into a trance. Born geniuses, born prodigies. Everybody cannot imitate them. Because Maharshi did not have a guru, because Krishnamurti was against, I know what kind of gurus he's talking about. I don't want to open my mouth because it will be a big, there are non-sarkari and sarkari gurus. So let's not discuss this. All I'm saying is that what he meant was that the teacher should not become more important than the teaching. Because I know many people, have you read the Upanishads? Are you doing your Kriya? No, sir. Why? Because you are there, no? This is a laziness that creeps into the system. Krishnamurti was actually warning you against that. Unfortunately, today there are people, you tell them, and if they think they are going to be beaten in the discussion, they would say, but Krishnaji said so. Same. I would say the Krishna said so in the Gita. So what is the difference? This is what he was avoiding.
So is there a similar kind of warning, Krishnamurti's warning against Gurudom? Is there a similar warning in the Upanishads like this shloka from the Mundaka Upanishad that you translate as abiding in the midst of ignorance, wise in their own esteem, saying of themselves to be learned, fools, afflicted with troubles, go about like blind men led by one who is himself blind.
And the blind leading the blind, not my words, mind you. It is from the Upanishad. You're right.
Is this also the critique of this false Gurudom?
Absolutely. Also, truth is, okay, doesn't matter. Truth is not something which we can define. It's not something that we can trap in any small verbal or visual trap. It's all pervading. One can see it only when the mind is free from, first, the understanding that I know. I think the inquiry should start with I don't know. Upanishads also declare, he who knows, knows not, and he who knows not, knows. Yeah.
There's a word that is used when you are citing Krishnamurti's early life, where the Theosophical Society sort of takes guardianship of him, and where they say he will be overshadowed.
Overshadowed.
That the voice of the masters will speak through him.
Which he denied afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
But does all this make Krishnamurti difficult, almost impossible to follow? Don't most of us need gurus?
First of all, Krishnamurti doesn't want you to follow. That's not his intention. So that problem is solved. Now, whether everybody needs, some people at least need a teacher, I would say yes, you would need a guide and a teacher. But again, don't make the teacher more important than the teaching. Okay. Now, I don't know if you have more questions on some more questions.
Yes.
Because I want to also touch upon that part called the process.
Yeah. Why don't you explain it? I do have some questions about that too.
Now, it's a well-known and documented fact that Krishnamurti, at some part of his life, before he started speaking like he used to speak afterwards, before that, his speeches were more theosophical. He was part of the Theosophical Society. He broke away from it in Oman is not that Oman. Oman is a place in Holland, which was in the castle of a great king who had gifted it to the Theosophical Society. There he spoke, and that was the first time he dissolved the order of the star and came out of the Theo. After that, his complete talks changed. Before that, there were some hints, but they were mostly theosophical. He used to say, the master said it. Now this gap, when he dissolved the order and said, when somebody asked him, who are you? I am just Jiddu Krishnamurti. I have come to lead you, break all conditions, unconditionally lead you to the truth. This is what he said later. Now in this gap, he had some peculiar experiences which all the biographies call the process. He used to fall into a trance. And sometimes he behaved like split personalities. One voice would be talking, saying, hey Krishna, watch out, he's coming, and so on, like a child. And he had immense pain in his back and his spinal cord. Immense pain. Nobody could understand because usually people associate the movement of the energy through the spine, the kundalini, as full of bliss, and he was saying full of pain. But they forgot to look carefully and found that in history of yogic practice, there have been many cases where there has been intense pain also. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa at one time had intense pain all over his body. So he had that. In that experience, he was in a trance. He was not normal. He would come out looking like a completely crazy guy. It was after going through that process, that he became Krishnamurti as we know now. At least it was revealed. My question is, do you think somebody who reads plenty of Krishnamurti and who has not gone through that process really understand what he's saying? We can spout Krishnamurti by reading. We can, for instance, Sunday sit in a club and have some beer and say, I know Krishnamurti. Krishnamurti never touched alcohol. He never smoked. He never had any other problem. He practiced yoga every morning and he was a vegetarian. It's one thing to say, I have understood Krishnamurti while chewing steaks. And the other thing to say, I understand Krishnamurti after going through the process. So I am of the understanding that process is what we call samadhi in yogic literature. And that changed his whole outlook and he touched it. So he found it for himself, maybe. Now also the Upanishad, according to me, is a growing body of literature. You can't stop there and say it is over. So here is an additional insight into the Upanishad from a man who says, I didn't read the Upanishad. But look at his life. In fact, he was so sensitive that if he saw blood somewhere, when somebody is eating steak, for instance, he would faint. And his constant, he repeated this always about the wars and the violence that is happening in the world. He said, we do not know about non-violence, we know only violence. We may talk about non-violence, but we do not know. We know. And please remember, the first yama of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali is ahimsa. Believe me, in his personal life I have seen, occasionally in England he might have had a boiled egg, which is dead, of course, there is no life in it. But apart from that, he led a truly rishi-like life. He didn't own properties. He had a private income which came from abroad. He did not touch anything from the Krishnamurti Foundation. He was unmarried, he was alone. I think unless one goes through that process or similar process, something like that, one really cannot understand the depth of Krishnamurti.
Is that speaking to the spiritually strong? And don't we also need to help the spiritually weak who have not reached that level of understanding of even stepping towards a process?
Yes. So I am saying that there are ways and means to do that. You see, if you really are serious about searching for the truth, then you should be ready to sink everything else for that. Without taking a risk, you cannot do it. I know that Krishnamurti's way of saying you need no crutches is not so easy for most people, I agree. But at least it's worth looking at, theoretically at least. And then I also feel that unless you lead a life like he used to practice, I know this, daily morning, 30 to 40 minutes of yoga. We went for walks. He was a vegetarian. He did not drink alcohol. He did not eat meat. That life is different from somebody who does everything and says, I don't need a guru, I am free, I am Krishnamurti. You see what I am trying to say?
There's a shloka from the Isha Upanishad which I've heard you quote often, that into blinding darkness enter those who worship ignorance, and those who delight in knowledge enter into still greater darkness, as it were. But what I came to know from this book is that your guru, Maheshwarnath Babaji, told you to look at Krishnamurti's writings to understand that statement.
True. Because, Maheshwarnath Babaji thought that I was a complete idiot, honestly. He said, मैंने सोचा तो कभी कभी बुद्धा बन जाए तो बुद्धू बन गया. I told me one day. So now, yeah, he did. Because it's a very profound statement. It comes from the Ishavasya Upanishad. It says, the first sentence, everybody agrees, which is that those who worship knowledge and those who worship ignorance, avidya, enter into darkness. That everybody agrees. Yes. We don't worship avidya, ignorance, because we are all knowledgeable. We worship only knowledge. Now this second sentence hits hard. It says, those who worship knowledge enter into greater darkness. So now here, we need to look at this carefully, and I think among all the great teachers, perhaps in Sankhya Pravanchana Sutra, there may be some discussion on this, but apart from that, I've seen it in Krishnamurti. I consider him as a rishi, one of the rishis, let's say. He put it very nicely. He said, he didn't go into philosophy or who said what and nothing. Practically, he said, all knowledge that we have, any knowledge, scientific knowledge, philosophy, or religious knowledge, any knowledge that we have, the process of acquiring that knowledge is simple. I don't know about this microphone, right? Then I study this and say, oh, this is the thing that takes my voice, and it is a round little thing stuck on this, and so on and so forth. So before I knew this, I didn't know about the mic, suppose. Then I studied the mic, and I know what is a microphone. Okay. Now when I say I have knowledge of the microphone, what I actually mean is that I have understood it and stored it in my memory, and I am able to recall it automatically without much effort. This is what I mean by saying, the real meaning of saying, I know about the microphone. I know about the Upanishad. Basically what it means is, I have studied it and then I have stored it in my memory and I can reproduce it at any time, effortlessly. This is knowledge, any knowledge. I don't know about your Brahmos, sir, but any knowledge is, you don't know, then you study, then you store it in your memory and you recall it whenever you want. This is when someone can do it fast, you say he has great knowledge. So, have you ever heard of a memory that is past? That is present. All memories are past. If the very word memory means it is in the past, or Dr. Venkatraman is saying, the brain stores the memory, right? It's in the past. Krishnamurti's, what he was trying to say is the truth, or Satya, or Brahman as you call it, is ever present and therefore cannot be studied and put into the past and become a memory. It's here and now all the time. It cannot be a memory, and since it cannot be a memory, it is not what we normally mean by the word knowledge. It's like the flowing river. At every point it's alive. You cannot put it into words and store it and say, oh, I have had the experience of the Brahman. It happens every minute, every second, effortlessly. So therefore, all knowledge, including what I am saying now, this is also from my memory, mind you, is a thing of the past and therefore is not real. Therefore we are entering into darkness if you trust it. Greater darkness. In fact, I find people who have read a lot are in greater darkness. Because the mind is cluttered with all the books that you have read and you cannot separate it. And sometimes you have people who we think are unlearned, not gone to school or college, who are free. You know, what we normally call as yahoos. I don't know why they call it yahoo.com, but Yahoo, incidentally, is an Arabic word. Yahoo. Who is the last word of Allah, who? The Sufis use it very often. Yahoo, Yahoo. Ya means O-H. O, who. And we call people who are idiots Yahoos. Probably they know who. Or who they are.
You write in chapter 5 about how the Atman is often mistakenly interpreted as this much-cited idea of self-realization, seeing oneself as a sullied mind that must evolve towards the unsullied Atman. And you quote Krishnamurti as echoing this critique, because he says, I am impure, but my true self is pure, causing us to live under the illusion that one is actually an impure being. So is this notion of self-realization why so many of us remain trapped within illusion?
You are asking me, every third person I meet asks me about somebody else, is he self-realized? I said, how the hell do I know? Okay. Then they ask me, are you self-realized? Now this is the most stupid question, because people have come to think that when you say you're self-realized, you're free of the identity of the body, mind and so on, and you are identified with the Supreme Atman. This is considered to be self-realized. I'm saying the Upanishads have been misunderstood here. When they said self-realization, they meant to know yourself as you are now, not to project that you are the Atman, the blissful Brahman and all that. This is a projection of the mind. one part of the mind doesn't want to admit that it is impure, so it says there is a pure Atman, which I am, and this is nonsense. I don't have anything to. But this is what we are. We are shit. I'm sorry. You get what I'm trying to say? We are, so we have to come face to face with ourselves instead of pretending that I am the Brahman. You know what I mean? Well, you're the Brahman, that's a different story. But where are we now at the moment, and how do we find it out? Only when you are living in this world, in contact with other people, through your reactions, you know where you stand, right? When I sit for 15 minutes and meditate and I feel some bliss, I can say I'm the Brahman. And the moment I open my eyes, I use the most foul words. I mean, what Brahman are we? Sometimes I tend to agree with Madhvacharya, the dualist. I'm not a Madhvite, but I'm saying, he said the supreme reality, he called it Krishna or Narayana, it doesn't matter, is supreme by itself. It is not a conglomeration of limited jivas. If it is a conglomeration of limited jivas, it becomes limited, it's not limitless anymore. So somebody said, but the Upanishad says, Aham Brahmasmi, Mahavakya. He said, yes, in the Upanishad, the Brahman says, Aham Brahmasmi. What about you guy who eats, drinks, dies, shits? I mean, what kind of a Brahman are you? So, somewhere along the line, we have screwed up Vedanta. We need to unravel it. I think Krishnamurti is a great help. So, when you say, are you self-realized? The answer should be, if you know, yes, I am self-realized, I am jealous, I am stupid, I am angry, and I know I am. I am self-realized. Not, oh, I am the Brahman, so I am saying, it's an imagination. Well, ultimately it may be true, but at the moment. Okay, another thing, if I don't know myself as I am, which I would call self-realization, how will I change? I won't change. I will superimpose the idea of the Brahman on me and carry on with life, saying that I am free, but I am not. So unless we know ourselves, it's important to know yourself, but not in an idealistic way, if I am that, I am this. I went in the early last days of his life, I went to meet Nisargadatta Maharaj. Unfortunately, I didn't have a tape recorder. So he said, he offered a cup of tea and I had a cup of tea. He was smoking, he said, have a cigarette. I said, no Maharaj, I don't smoke. Okay, theek hai. Then I said, I've just read that book written by a foreigner, not Indian, some Swedish or somebody, called I Am That, which is his famous book. You know what his reaction was? He laughed. Then he said, हाँ कोई अंग्रेज ने लिखा कुछ, हाँ समझ गया. But then he said, मैं तो वो नहीं, मैं तो ये हूँ. But I'm not that, I'm this, he said. And had a good laugh, of course. Which was, he was kind of reminding me, don't imagine you're the Brahman. You may be, mind you. At the moment, you are where you are, study yourself carefully, improve yourself, clean up, and then perhaps you'll know what it is.
There's a lovely quotation of Krishnamurti you cite, where he's explaining why he speaks. And he says, when one sees something true and beautiful, one wants to tell people about it, out of affection, out of compassion, out of love. Can you ask a flower why it grows, why it has perfume? It is for the same reason a speaker talks. So is this why any real guru speaks, and is this why you keep saying, the teachings are more important than the teacher?
True. When a flower really blooms and the fragrance comes from the flower, lots of bees gather around. This is normal. And when you feel something good, you feel like expressing it, not for gain, profit, nothing of the sort. But today's life, we are so structured, and now on top of that, artificial intelligence. We are so structured and so digitalized. We have begun to think in digitals now. So in a way, it's advancement, in a way, it's a dangerous trend. Humanity is lost. Ideas of compassion, love, affection are all gone. Not yet gone, of course they are. They're moving towards going. So we have to be very careful in this life about these matters. Otherwise, theoretically we might say, oh, we are doing, but it doesn't mean anything to us. Can I relate to myself? Can I relate to others? And in fact, to be honest with you, I'm very frightened of this people worshipping me, Guru, or I know when I go out now, people say, have you understood anything? Nahi, magar darshan ho gaya. Arey, why am I sitting here wasting my time? Darshan?
So I could go on, but we need to wind up to leave a few questions from the audience. So a last question, and I'll take the liberty of making it a provocative one. So your non-fiction writing so far, your non-fiction writing so far, your talks on Guru Purnima and Shivratri have centered on Vedanta and ancient wisdom. Now you have this text which brings Krishnamurti into central focus, an iconoclastic preacher who critiques gurus and organizations. Are you seeking to send a signal to your Shishyas that they should do more on their own?
Yeah, of course. They have to do things on their own. You see my feet, you see this? They've all got worn out here. You know why? Because people rub their heads. Please, before some years back, nobody used to do pranams to me because I don't like. Then I got mixed up with good people, but a crowd that was traditionally pranamic, let's call it, especially from Gujarat and all. Then this pranam started. Now they won't change themselves, they will only do pranams. Well, if it changes, that is good. But if it doesn't, and sometimes it goes to a ridiculous extent that they wash their feet and drink the water. I tell them, I may be having skin disease, watch out. You might get it. Let's be a little scientific and clear on this matter.
Thank you. We'll now have time for not more than 3 or 4 questions from the audience. Someone will come with a mic and choose who they hand the mic to. Please keep the questions brief and only questions related to the book, not on any other subject. No personal questions.
Come. You're welcome. Questions are always welcome. I don't know if I can answer them. Can't hear you, sir. I can't see who is talking.
Shri Guru Namaha Guru.
Can you ask the people who are asking the questions to come forward so I can see their face? Please come forward. Don't be shy. Yeah.
Shri Guru Namaha Guru Garu. I just wanted to know about how Babaji knew about Krishnamurti, because he has not gone to a Babaji, right? Is it only through his discipline? How come he got to know about Krishnamurti?
You to ask a question of how Babaji knew, I don't know how to explain this to you.
Because I just wanted
He
to
knew many things which I did not expect him to know. For instance, he always talked to me in Hindi. Always. And then we went to Badrinath and he was having a nice conversation with the Ravalji in Malayalam. Adi, what do I do? I mean, how do I explain this to you?
Now, my intention was, is it through only the disciplined, the guru will come to know
No,
about these all?
can you leave no follow-up questions, please? Can you leave?
Say that again? Let
Yeah, my intention was like whoever practices his own disciplines, the guru will come to know on
Of
his
course,
own.
of
Yes.
course. If he is a true guru
Yeah.
and he is not after your checkbook, you get what I mean? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please come. Oh, there are many people.
Sir, Krishnamurti was against the organization,
Yes.
but he started his own organization after.
Yes.
Theosophical Society.
He did not start. Whenever there is a person like that, the organization builds itself around that person.
unless
I
it's-
did not start the Satsang Foundation.
But how
It
come-
happens.
But
It
he
happens.
encouraged it.
Well, he did not encourage it. He needed some structure to be able to express what he was trying to teach. That's all. He was not interested in anything else. Let me tell you.
But Theosophical Society has brought him up and to give me a lot of training and masters and other things. Sir. But he never spoke about afterwards. Sir.
He should-
Entirely changed himself.
Yes, good. He didn't want to talk about it.
But they wanted to be world teacher. He has become world teacher on his own afterwards. Sir.
Huh?
Not under the banner of Theosophy,
Huh.
but he became world teacher on his own afterwards.
Of course he did become. He is not under the banner of the Theosophical.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Can I?
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
My question is,
Yes, sir. Wait.
while you are talking, you told that Krishnamurti is a non-vegetarian, a pure vegetarian, cannot drink or anything. Is that the parameter to understand ourselves? Because the entire world, there is non-vegetarian people also there, vegetarian people also there. God will never discriminate among vegetarian only. I will come and bless you.
Well, in that case,
If anybody is non-vegetarian,
all the non-vegetarians are cursed. I'm not talking about that.
means what is the parameter to understand ourselves? Is it
If
only
you-
vegetarian or non-vegetarian?
Wait a minute. We are on the subject of Krishnamurti only, right? Here. So, if you hope to understand even a little bit of Krishnamurti, you should also try and follow some of his lifestyle. This is what I meant.
Following the personality is very important than the principles.
Yes. So if you want to understand the principle of Krishnamurti, you have to follow the principles which he followed or not. Yes or no? There must be some reason why he did it. Because he didn't want to kill animals to eat.
So nowadays, the same thing happening, especially in India. Those who are vegetarian, they are very spiritual, those who are non-vegetarian, like that.
See,
They are giving, no, one should not get confused.
No. I know many people who are non-vegetarians who are good people. It's not like that. It's not like that. Look, wait a minute. Swami Vivekananda ate everything that crawled. You can't say that he's not a spiritual being. But here we are on the subject of Krishnamurti. So if you're talking about that lofty ideal which he's talking about, look at his lifestyle, how he lived. That's what I'm trying to. Yes.
Good evening, sir. Because we mentioned about pranams only for today, lots of love to you from all of us
Thank
and
you.
hugs too.
Thank you.
On the question pertaining to the books, only one question. You mentioned that too much of reading tantamounts to clutter. But at the same time,
Did I?
yes. So
For some
we
people-
end
for
up
some people.
structuring it. We end up structuring it and we get too involved into the teaching and we forget the main purpose. So when we have a book from where we stand to learn something, where do we draw the line? Where
I did not first of all say anything that you should not read too much. Please read as much as you want. There is no harm in reading. But don't begin to believe everything that you read that it is happening to me.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. Because there is, in spiritual books, there is this danger. As you read, some experience happened, you begin to feel, it's happening to me also. Don't get into that. Read as much as you want. There is no harm. Now, incidentally, since you are on the subject of reading, when I come for a satsang, right, on Upanishads, for instance, or today I came satsang on Krishnamurti. So you might be thinking I would have read Krishnamurti, Upanishads and all before coming. Let me let out a secret to you. Yesterday when I was going to sleep, I was reading Asterix. Why? Because I wanted my brain to be clear, not caught up with anything. Krishnamurti or non-Krishnamurti, nothing, let it be clear. So I read Asterix. So my favorite reading is not Krishnamurti, my favorite reading is Asterix, Tintin, P.G. Wodehouse. Of course, I read the Gita.
Thank you.
Master, Jithu Krishnamurti has got to school, right? Rishi Bhai school. And I think you also worked in that school.
I was in the beginning, yes.
Okay. So have you taken some ideas from that school when you started opening your PGS?
Yes, I have.
So what are the main things you have?
First is we did not want uniforms in our school, which is also not there in Rishi Bhai. Not because it is there, but I also felt the same. Because when you dress somebody up in uniforms, you know how wars are created? Somebody is all dressed up in uniforms, then you play the band and you play the marching song and you're ready to kill anybody. Why? Because all are one. We all mix up our individual uniqueness and make it common. So, young children especially, I did not want them to wear uniforms so that they are not uniform. Nobody is uniform actually, all are different. So, if you say all are different, then you also can freedom to think differently. I'm not asking anybody to think as I do. You can think in your own ways. This is why we started. Some of the things. Plus, it's a, what is that, boys and girls learn together? It's a co-education. Now, co-education has its dangers when you look after growing up children and so on, but it also has its great advantages too. And our campus is vegetarian. And none of the children, it is vegetarian, somebody who wants optionally eggs for breakfast can have, but none of the children who are passed out of People Grow School, I'm not People Grow School, mind you, I'm out of all that. Okay. Now, I'm telling you some facts. None of the children who are passed out of People Grow School are in any way less intelligent than those who daily eat steaks. So these are some, and you need space to study. So we want greenery, we want trees, we want land. You understand? Because what happens is you're cooped up in a small matchbox size classroom with 100 children and one teacher. There is no relationship between the teacher and the student. So we decided that we should have a ratio of 11:1, which means for every 11 students, there is one teacher. That gives more attention, and self-learning is very important. There is a word called swadhyaya. Many people think swadhyaya means to study for oneself. Swadhyaya, what is swa? Oneself. No spoon feeding. Learn yourself. Swadhyaya. It also means swadhyaya, learning about yourself. Swa. So we are trying to inculcate all these things in some way, but without pressure and without saying you must do this and things like that. That way, yes, it is similar because of the Krishnamurti influence, also because my wife taught for 20 years in the Rishi Valley School, not me. I have differences of opinion, not me, but she. And therefore she was the principal when the school started, so you'll see many things which are similar. Believe me, I am nowadays nothing to do with the school. I came out of Rishi Valley, I came out of People Grove School. I am not People Grove School. You are asking the wrong person actually. We created something because it had a grove full of people trees. So we called it the People Grove School. And now it's running on its own. I have a room there called the chairman's room. You can ask anybody from People Grove School. Once in 2 years, I might go and sit there for 10 minutes. Good. If you are not totally discouraged, then please continue.
So,
which class is he? 8. Believe me, the children at least learn how their minds can expand. That is, they're very much there. And they love nature.
Yes, yes, of course.
They love.
Okay, Master, thank you.
I'm being told we've already crossed the time by which we should
There's
end.
one
So
more, he's been waiting for a long time.
One last question.
He's an old friend, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for writing on Krishnamurti because I consider him an iconoclast, as already mentioned. The other common figure I find very similar, and if I'm not wrong, was Gautama Buddha as well. He was also an iconoclast in terms of eschewing existing traditions. In terms of the Gautama Buddha was another who eschewed existing traditions. And I find you to be ironically very in the similar mode of not embracing the guru fandom as such. My question is, how do you compare between Krishnamurti, who, as you say, and I love the fact that you're trying to bridge between the traditional Upanishads and what Krishnamurti's teachings are, with that of Gautama Buddha, who's also very similar, who said you have to investigate and decide yourself, who also didn't want this guru business, right? That's my first question.
Today,
who also didn't want this
they're
guru
always
business.
worshipping the Buddha.
I mean, there's so many idols. That's an ironic situation, right? There's so many statues of Buddha, which I'm sure he would have been completely against. That's my first question.
I will, one is enough. Okay. Let me tell you this. See, this happens. Apparently, the devil, you know the devil, no? We all know the devil, right? We say what the devil, we know Satan. In Indian concepts of philosophy, there is no Satan. It's there in the Semitic religion, Satan. Now, Satan is supposed to be, in India it's different. In our ancient teachings, Asuras and Devas are there, but some Asuras are great and some Devas are terrible. So that watertight Satan, black and white, is not there. Thank God. Now, we are talking about the other Satan, Shaitan. Now the Satan and his very close friend apparently went for a walk. So the devil picked up something from the lawn and put it in his pocket. So his friend asked him, "What did you pick up just now?" He said, "I just picked up the truth, Satya, light." So his friend said, "Then you're finished. Your days are numbered." Why? You're the opposite. You're darkness, you're untruth, and you just picked up the truth and put it in your pocket, which means your days are numbered. Apparently the devil smiled and patted him on his shoulder and said, "Don't worry, friend, I will organize it." So truth also can be organized, then it is gone. It's gone when the organization becomes more important than the truth. So this has happened everywhere. Luckily, we don't have Krishnamurti images being worshipped. Thank God. Buddha, People don't even read or understand the teachings, they worship the Buddha. And they think that that is enough. This is what I'm fighting against. Tomorrow, they will have images of me put up everywhere and people worship. What is the use? I mean, why do you change? There are some people who use God's names as excuses. I know a good friend of mine who says, my Narayana did this, my Narayana is sitting there, my Narayana brought me there. What Narayana? Which Narayana are you talking about? Do you know anything about Narayana? Really? Seriously? So all these become excuses of the mind. And a mind that seeks excuses is an empty mind. You know what I mean? It has no substance. It's fickle and empty. I'm not saying anything wrong with that, but we should discover it. If you don't discover that something is empty, how do you feel it? Tell me. But we are not prepared to accept.
And that goes to the transition, like when you said we read Upanishads, right? We come to your satsangs, we understand, but the moment we go out, boom, it's not fully integrated into our way of life. That transition is what the challenge is for many of us. I mean, at least for me, right? In terms of how we can be aware all the time.
Yes. So can we call this off for the last question?
We've been waiting for some time. So this is, thank you. Please excuse me. This is regarding the process. The process, as you mentioned. Let's say any seeker, for example, let's say Nirvikalpa is the ultimate. Nirvikalpa is the ultimate, let's say, for a goal.
Nirvikalpa.
Nirvikalpa Samadhi, let's say.
Do you know anything about
No, sir, definitely.
Okay.
So he chooses paths. And when he reads Krishnamurti, he dismantles everything, that there is a pathless path and everything. So I just wanted to know, because he speaks about multiple perceptions and that you're looking at an experience, you want the ultimate experience, but the experience is already there because the five senses are perceiving multiple perceptions already. So when you're focusing on one experience, you're already dividing it, that the thought is dividing it.
Krishnamurti is not talking about any breaking of experiences or dividing experiences.
The thought is breaking.
He's just saying be honest and look at yourself. That's all.
Did Krishnamurti sir acknowledge the need for, let's say, yogic practices?
He did not say either yes or no on this matter.
But did not deny it as well.
He did not say, I have not heard him say, but I know one thing, that in Switzerland, in Sanen, when he has just finished a serious talk on human beings and compassion, somebody gave him a note which said, sir, if the Kundalini arises, can we attain realization? Here is the comment, ridiculous. You take what you want from it.
So, but we see a distinction and not a connection. So you're trying to connect, let's say we read.
I am not connecting.
And then Krishnamurti.
I am not connecting anything. I am just stating the Upanishad and Krishnamurti. Choose. Take what you want.
For me to find out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I get so many emails. My Kundalini has awakened. Please help me. If your Kundalini has awakened, why should I help you?
So,
can we stop?
Yeah. So
there are two people impatiently standing there, sir.
Your choice.
Okay. Two of you. It's 7:10. It will take me another 1.5 hours to reach Whitefield.
Namaste. Is there a connection between word Guru, Gurutva, Gurutva Karshani? If you get Guru, Gurutva, Gurutva Karshani.
Say that again. Last word is what?
Gurutva Karshani. Gravity. Gurutva Karshani.
Gurutva?
Akarshan. Gurutva Akarshan. Gurutva Karshani.
Ha. Yeah, get. You see, when you say Gurutva, normal language when we speak, it means that you respect the person who has taught you something. This is Gurutva. It need not necessarily be spiritual also. A good student has always, we say in Malayalam, there's a nalla Gurutva mana. That means If mathematics has been taught to me by Gopala Krishna Iyer for 10 years, which I still couldn't understand a word, but you have a Gurutva. When you see him, you respect him. No matter what, this is Gurutva. It need not be spiritual. You need not. Gurutva does not mean that you should fall at his feet, pull him towards you, which he will fall down, of course, and all that. It simply means that you have respect because this person has taught me something in life. And believe me, the first part of Gurutva should go to your mother and father, who have brought you up, brought me up, for instance, then others.
In this context, the Earth's magnetic force and the body magnetic force, that way, if we can interrelate, I mean, the very physical essence of Guru, can it be internalized totally? That was my basic question regarding Gurutva Karshne.
I am very confused and I don't know.
Sir, namaste. Nagendra Kumar, sir. Salutations to you. That's all, sir.
What happened? What did he say? I did.
He just said salutations to you. So, sir, thank you again for this book. And I urge everyone not to just read it, but to reread it. It is a book worthy of that.
Yeah. May I also say parting as I go? Please read it again and again because you might miss some points here and there. So please read it again and again until you begin to understand what it is. If by understanding it you cease to come to me, I am very happy. Freedom is what we should seek.
With this, we come to the end of this evening's program. A grateful thank you to Sri-m. Thank you, Mr. Chandavarkar. The session really helped to rekindle interest in the book. And of course, a big thank you to all the dignitaries. They are phenomenal achievers in their own field and the true role models of society. And of course, the satsang volunteers who have done an excellent job as always, and the staff and officials of Chowdiah Memorial Hall, and definitely to such a receptive audience. A small announcement. The book is available for sale till 7:30 p.m. Prasad is also being served till 7:30 p.m. Please partake of it. Good night, everybody.